Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of this replay between YellowDragon and Argos Zenith here on Lost Temple. Back over here we do see some Mutalisks now in the air. Army-wise, both sides fairly even. The Templar Archives and the Twilight Council was taken down. Kind of surprised that this pylon was not taken down to unpower these two cannons over here, but Argos Zenith trying to do that critical damage instead. We do see some Hydralisks on the low ground as I'm going to go ahead and continue this replay. Hydralisks on this high ground, if those Stalkers try to come into position, are going to take a whole lot of damage from those units. Stalkers trying to avoid that Spinecrawler there, and Spinecrawler's just dealing more and more damage. Just there's so many Hydralisks with that fast DPS or fast attack rate able to pick off those units over there. Argos Zenith does not have that weapons upgrade, but more Mutalisks just coming into position here, now going to focus down more and more of these Stalkers. Stalkers have level 1 weapons upgrade, but that is it. 2 photon cannons on the low ground. That's all that's really saving this fight over here, as this army is now being forced to retreat. I think YellowDragon pushed out way too quickly, trying to deal some damage. He should have just tried to take an additional expansion, perhaps try to clear out these rocks. However, pushing out to clear out these Spinecrawlers was the necessary move. He just didn't need to move all the way down over here. Hydralisks have cleared out this position over here, as we now see some Zealots moving around the map. The Zealots really have no idea if there's any sort of expansions in play. Back over here, the Hydralisks just looking at what will be a hatchery in just a moment, as Mutalisks now taking down and finishing off these Zealots. Zealots do not have the Zealot charge upgrade, so those Zealots move very, very slowly. Back over here, we now have that Hydralisk army moving very quickly across the creep, as some Spinecrawlers now getting into position once again. Zealots, YellowDragon will quickly realize that he is not too far behind in the economic game. 2 bases off of, or 1 base compared to 1 base at this time, but it's just a number of army units. Mutalisks getting caught out of position once again, flying over a bunch of Stalkers and quickly getting torn apart. However, these Hydralisks now trying to get in position will be able to start firing. However, a couple of quick force fields being nicely used as well, so those Hydralisks unable to get into position. So nicely done by YellowDragon, but YellowDragon still a little bit up against the ropes. Will he be able to fight back needle spines and armor upgrades? So those Hydralisks will be able to attack and take down those Immortals, as those Hydralisks have a very, very fast attack speed to try to get around that armor. We do see some four High Templars now being warped into play, but no Psystorm research yet. Finally getting that Psystorm research, trying to chrono boost it, 110 units a time, and will be only 100 units a time after that 1 chrono boost, and there is plenty of chrono boost to go around, so this may be able to get within that 80 time range. Back over here, Stalkers trying to push out, no, deciding not to. 1 Spinecrawler with a whole bunch of Hydralisks, going to cause a little bit of problems there. So that Impaler Tentacle, okay, never knew the attack on the Spinecrawler, so it's an Impaler Tentacle. Back over here, we do see some of the Mutalisks now once again just getting a lot of damage in and trying to cause a little bit of harassment back and forth. These Stalkers being forced to move in between these 2 locations, and these photon cannons now causing issues for the Stalkers, as the Stalkers are unable to get up that ramp very quickly. I still do not see any Blink research yet, as does Templar Archives nearing completion on this Psystorm, so that Psystorm will be completed in just a moment, and this is going to be a decent, 4 High Templars. So these 4 High Templars, each with about 100 energy, may be able to get off 2 Psystorms by the time these Hydralisks decide to press in. Back over here, Stalkers on the high ground, Sentry's not trying to move out just quite yet, as now we see Argos Zenith getting the economic game underway, taking up that final 3rd base. These, or the 3rd base over here, will be running off of 2 mineral patches. Back over here, you see beyond saturation for YellowDragon. YellowDragon just highly saturated. Will he be able to do anything about this 3100 mineral army versus 4850? There are a decent number of High Templars though, so those High Templars, High Templars here, now getting up to 128, 130 energy, may be able to get off enough Psystorms that really deal with this Hydralisk army, especially if there are a couple well-placed sentries. So if those force fields deny any sort of retreat, that will be a very, very bad sight indeed. So now Argos Zenith is finally going to be forced to engage, as these Stalkers now move out. And now continuing to fight one of those roaches, just scampering out a little bit too quickly, as the Overlord's now taking damage and deciding to pull back once again. No observers to clear out any of these creep tumors, and now you see YellowDragon pushing over here in order to clear out these destructible rocks. Argos Zenith does see what he's doing over here, so these roaches now will be able to move out. The roaches are going to be able to move while burrowed. However, there are photon cannons here, as more units now continue to move out. Roaches currently burrowed, perhaps they're going to get stuck over here. here, trying to take down some of these pylons and try to get into a really strong position here. So perhaps trying to get behind these units, and if burrowing right underneath and then unable to get any side storms off. Beautifully played. So Argos Zenith a side storming, but we're going to be forced to side storm his own units, and now picking off all of those High Templar. I believe only one High Templar is left in that whole entire fight. And yeah, that's just a very bad sign, or very difficult to play there. So Roaches moving while burrowed, beautifully done, and now we'll be able to pop back up in just a moment. How Roaches move faster while burrowed under creep, I'm not quite sure, but still these Roaches just doing a great job pecking away at this army. Now these units continue to move back around. Roaches popping up and then gonna go ahead and just go back underneath that ground. Roaches with that 2 armor dealing 20 damage per attack, and just doing a lot of damage over here as more Roaches and Hydralisks. So it looks as though as soon as these armies of Roaches has been taken down, we will see another group of army and Hydralisks once again re-engage. Back over here, more High Templars coming into position. We do see one observer now. So that one observer able to spot those burrowed Roaches. And now with the 4,000 mineral army, it looks as though YellowDragon is coming back into this game. If he's able to establish this expansion, transfer some probes over, that will be absolutely critical. He needs to clear out these creep tumors. Those creep tumors give so much of a movement speed towards Hydralisks. They normally only have 2.25, but an almost 3.37 while on that creep. And now continuing the fight over here, Hydralisk Roaches a little bit out of position as these creep tumors should be cleared out. In comes some Mutalisks, and Roaches now finally coming in. Are they going to be able to flank? Hydralisk trying to get in position here, continuing the push. No Guardian Shields. In comes some Force Fields. However, Hydralisk able to flank, and this is going to be GG here. Too much damage to be dealt. 2/2 upgrades on the needle spines and the acid saliva of these Roaches. And Stalkers only have that 1/0 upgrade. Immortals will be able to take down some of these Roaches, but still not enough to swing the game really. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Argos Zenith and YellowDragon. Please also remember to like these videos, as now that I'm a machinima director now, my videos will come up more frequently if they are liked higher, and they will be featured a little bit more. Now, on a quick recap of this game, I'm a little bit disappointed in Argos Zenith's macro play. Even though he does have a 5,000 mineral army, I believe he took this expansion just a little bit later than he needed. It almost gave YellowDragon enough time to come back into this game. YellowDragon, however, relying too much on static defense. A lot of these photon cannons never got off one shot. So all of those kills, like no kills on any of these photon cannons, but I believe he was just constantly worried about Mutalisk play. So the number of photon cannons is in direct relationship to the number of Mutalisks that he was constantly fighting back and forth. Those Phoenixes, if he had just gotten a Stargate with Phoenixes, however, that Phoenix would have been able to deal a lot with that Mutalisk play, just because Phoenixes are able to move and attack. Also, against Zerg right now, if you are caught without a Stargate, especially at tier 3, you are definitely in trouble. If you don't have Void Rays to counter Broodlords or Ultralisks, it is just a very difficult play. Void Rays do a lot of damage against those Ultralisks. I believe up to 48 damage a second is the last time I did the number calculations, or was able to read up on the number calculations there. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay, just recapping once again, and I hope to see you guys on Battle.net.